Reef, what are you doing? Your Mortal Kombat type?
Bro, where you? Okay. I know you're next to me, but can you please leave me alone? I'm trying to be. Come on, I can't be a ninja.
Well, I understand that, but you know what got a reaction to do, right?
Oh, yo, where you at? Yo, oh shoot, yo, don't laugh at me. Yo, what's good with y'all, man? This is Reef'Lik,
And this is Leaky Leak.
and this is Reef'Lik. Hey, anime horror gang, what's good with y'all, man? Back at again with another video. You feel me?
Today we're going to react to Mr.Ballen.
Yo, shout out to Mr.Ballen, man. He is the GOAT. So we're going to check out his content today.
So please like, comment, subscribe, and join our big happy family.
Yes, man. Please join the family, man. Yo, join Anime Horror Gang, man. If you're into anime and horror like us, man, you're family, man. You're invited to the cookout. You're invited to the wedding, man. Yo, man. Anime Horror Gang for life, man. Once you join us, man, you're a Supreme Kai. You're on God tier status when you're with us, man. We're the gang, man. Family. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's begin.
In 2015, a young man living in Honduras made his way to the local cemetery and he found his wife's gravesite and he leaned up against it and he quietly began to cry. Seconds later, something would happen inside of that cemetery that would not only cause the young man to go silent, get up, and start running, but it would also be caught on camera. But before we get into today's stories,
I wonder what it was.
if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you,
shout out to
Mr.
Ballen.
Button to come to the zoo with you, and then cover them in honey and push them into the bear enclosure. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's stories.
The Oklahoma problem.
In the spring of 2021, 52-year-old Texas resident Karen Davis got married, and then after the ceremony and after the honeymoon, she went through the process of changing her last name from Davis to McBride to match her husband's last name. After the change was done, the last step was to get a new driver's license with the new name on it. So Karen emailed the local DMV, or Department of Motor Vehicles, to set up a time for her to come in and make the change to her license. But after she sent that email, the local DMV immediately emailed Karen back, and they told her that they could not help her with this request until she resolved an issue. Now, they didn't specify what this issue was. However, they very cryptically said it had something to do with the state of Oklahoma. And then at the bottom of the email, there was just a phone number, and they told her she needed to call in order to resolve this issue. And so Karen's thinking, okay, that's pretty weird, but I did used to live in Oklahoma, so that probably has something to do with it. And so, not thinking much of it, she punched this number the DMV had given her into her phone, and then she let it ring. A few moments later, much to Karen's shock, a woman from the Norman, Oklahoma District Attorney's Office picked up the phone and said, "How can I help you?" Karen immediately assumed that the DMV must have made a mistake, that maybe they were trying to give Karen some other number in Oklahoma because this was an Oklahoma problem, and they had mistakenly given her the number to the DA's office. But since she had this woman on the phone, Karen told her, hey, I was just trying to get a new license in Texas. They told me there was some sort of issue. It had to do with me potentially living in Oklahoma. I don't know what it is. but this is the number they gave me. So I'm sure it's a mistake, but that's why I'm calling. The woman from the DA's office had no idea who Karen was, but after taking down Karen's information and looking on her computer, she discovered Karen's so-called Oklahoma problem. And after she explained to Karen what this enormous problem was, Karen literally couldn't believe it. But after this woman went over the details a few more times and really showed Karen that this Oklahoma problem was very, very real, suddenly everything in Karen's life made sense. For the last 22 years, Karen, who was incredibly smart and friendly and polite and never had a problem with anyone, had an incredibly hard time getting a job. Even jobs that she was extremely qualified for, she would get turned down for.
You know what I hate? I hate when when you're applying this stuff and you know you got the capabilities to work somewhere. Mm-hmm. I just hate the fact that a job puts an application out there and put a hiring thing out there on either Indeed or they just have a sign up at the place. I hate when they put something up and then when you're qualified for it and you're a person that's, got good, you stayed at other jobs for a long time, they don't want to hire you. But when it's a random person that don't got no experience doing nothing and don't want to barely work no hours, they want to hire that person.
I get you right there.
I'm like, dude, why don't you want to hire a person that has a lot of experience and knows how to do a lot of things? If this person wants a lot of hours like this, why would you turn a person like that down and get somebody that only want to work 15 hours out the week?
I get you.
I'm like, dude, don't y'all be hating that? It'd be a random, they'd be picking the most randomest person that don't want to work. And it's crazy because the people that don't want to work always get the job, but you be applying to 20 or 40 jobs. And the person that don't want to work gets the job and you're applying to all these jobs and you can't even get barely 5. A person that don't really want to work could become a doctor if he really wants to. Because it's y'all just don't even care about the whole applying the application thing. Y'all just don't even care about it. It don't make sense.
Yeah, they just said that she been like that for 22 years, so wonder what the real reason for that is.
It gotta be an issue, because I'm bro, I understand this part, but I just feel I know it's all topic, but I'm just saying, bro, I hate when jobs be doing that. It gotta be something big for her to, always get declined. Or every time, probably, when she get a job, she always get fired, probably.
Someone who was way less qualified. And then, in the rare times that Karen did actually get hired, she would always get fired for no reason. And so Karen never understood why she was being treated this way until now. It would turn out 22 years earlier, which is when Karen's hireability issues began, she lived in Norman, Oklahoma, which is where the DA's office was that she would end up calling 22 years later. And when she was living in Norman, she lived with a roommate. And this roommate was this nice young man who had a couple of young kids. And one weekend, he went to the local movie store.
Blockbusters! You remember that place?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
yo, I loved this place. Yo, I'm just so mad that we grew up at the last stages of it before it really closed down and shut down. I'm just lucky that we got a chance to at least experience that. Because, oh my goodness, Blockbusters was so lit.
It bring back such good times.
Memories. I remember going up in there looking at all the Dragon Ball Z stuff and all the movies that we can rent, all the horror movies and stuff that was in there. And I'm yo, I remember all the candy that was in there. They used to have a red room. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about that room. But, we loved this place. I wish they shouldn't have shut down, though. There's only one left, though. I know there's only one left. I heard it on Instagram. There's only one left. They need to keep that open so me and you could go down there and go in there for nostalgia.
Yeah.
I really want to go there.
And he rented the hit 90s
oh my
movie
goodness.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch to watch with his kids. And after he was done watching this movie, he didn't return the VHS tape of Sabrina the Teenage Witch back to Movie Place. Now, normally when this happened, the movie store would just hit the card holder with lots of late fees, which was actually great for the movie store. They made lots and lots of money on individual people that just forgot to return their movies. And if the card holder just continued to hold on to this delinquent movie, at some point the movie store would just hit them with a final fee that basically accounted for the total cost of the VHS tape that they had effectively stolen. And then at that point, the matter was resolved. The cardholder owned the VHS tape, whether they knew it or not, and the movie store simply moved on. But in this case, Movie Place in Norman, Oklahoma, didn't think that was enough. And when Sabrina the Teenage Witch was not returned in a timely fashion, they pressed charges against the cardholder. And the cardholder was Karen Davis, the roommate that just borrowed her card. And somehow these charges against Karen were never brought up to Karen. She was never contacted by anyone.
Yo, so her roommate took that.
Years, she was technically a wanted felon. Meaning,
wow.
Either during the interview process or after she was hired, when they would run a criminal background check on her, it would pop up she was wanted for felony embezzlement. And so this was the reason she kept not getting jobs and kept getting fired from jobs. Since discovering these charges, Karen worked with the Norman, Oklahoma DA's office and got these charges dismissed.
Okay.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. At least you got a job.
Mm-hmm. You know what really makes me want to slap the like button with a tasseled wobble gong? Inflation. Prices are going through the roof right now, which is why I'm excited. And now here are the top 5 like button gags we received. My favorite was from Regina. Please invite the like button to the zoo with you, and then cover them in honey, and then accidentally push them into the bear enclosure. Okay, back to the stories.
This is Blankos, the free-to-play multiplayer game where you can unlock, earn, and sell an...
What's wrong with mommy? Oh, God.
In the early evening hours of December 24th, 2011, so
Christmas
Eve, 26-year-old Zazel Preston sat on her bed in her little apartment in Anaheim, California, and wrapped Christmas gifts for her children. Laying next to her was her newest addition to the family, her third child, a 7-week-old little boy. This Christmas was a big deal for Zazel. It was also a big deal for her husband, 30-year-old William Wallace, not only because it was going to be the first Christmas with their new son, but also because this was the first Christmas after Zazel and William had reconciled their relationship. They had been married for the past 3 years, but over those 3 years, their relationship had been very unhealthy and toxic and at times abusive. But earlier that year, when Zazel had discovered that she was pregnant, this baby became kind of like a new anchor point for their relationship. It was like suddenly they could put their differences aside and just focus on raising their kids together. After wrapping her final present, Zazel hopped off.
You know, I just feel like if you know homeboy, I don't know who's the main one in the relationship that really is toxic, but I feel like y'all be aware of this. If you're talking to somebody and you know they're toxic, don't marry them. Like, see how they is first.
Yes.
Don't have a baby with somebody that you barely don't know. And please wear protection, because you don't know how that person's going to turn out years from now. I feel like you really got to get comfortable with a person before you even start even thinking about marriage and stuff, because I feel like marriage is a big thing and having a baby is a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, make sure when you doing these decisions, make sure you having the right person that you know you could do all this stuff with, because trust me, stuff like this that's like abusive and toxic don't end out well. So
the bed, she scooped up her little boy, and then she headed out into the living room where she met up with her husband and her 2 older children, who were little girls aged 3 and 8, and then they all headed outside and went next door to celebrate Christmas Eve at a party with their neighbors. Early the next morning, so on Christmas Day, Zazel's 2 oldest children, the 2 girls, they got up early and they rushed out of their bedrooms and they ran down the hallway into the living room where their parents were waiting for them on the couch along with their baby brother. The living room was completely decked out with Christmas decorations that the family had put up over the past couple of weeks. The Christmas tree was in the corner with bright multicolored lights and ornaments all over it. There were wreaths on the wall and other string lights.
I remember those times. They were good
I love
times, though.
Christmas.
All of their stockings
I
nailed
love
up and
Christmas.
stuffed with goodies. The little girls squealed with delight and ran around the couch and took up spots right underneath the Christmas tree, and they grabbed their first present, and they turned and looked at their parents on the couch, and they saw their dad kind of give them a nod of approval, which meant, okay, you can start opening your gifts. And so the girls happily began tearing into the festive wrapping, and then after each of them had their brand new toy in hand, they turned around reflexively to show their parents. And so William, he sees the toys and he says, oh, they're so great, guys. And then when the girls, they look at their mother and they show her the toys, she doesn't even react. She completely ignores them. And so at some point, these little kids, they start yelling for their mom, hey, mom, check it out, look at this new toy. But Giselle just sits there. She doesn't say a word. She's just sitting back on the couch, completely ignoring them. Finally, the 8-year-old turns to William and says, what's wrong with mommy? And at this point, William pauses, and then he gives Giselle a scathing look before very bluntly saying to these young kids, mommy got drunk, and now she's ruined Christmas.
Come on, bro, don't say that to the kids. You could have just said, like, mommy is tired, so don't, like, bother her.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Oh, so he's probably the toxic one.
Presents, doing their best not to disturb their parents, who were sitting silently behind them. And then, a little after 9 a.m., after most of the presents had been opened, William abruptly stood up and walked into the other room and placed a phone call. And then, a few minutes later, there was a loud knock on the front door. The night before, after Giselle and William and their kids had left their neighbor's party and come back to their apartment, Giselle and William had gotten into a vicious fight. And by the time the kids had all gone to bed, the fight between the parents had become very physical. Neighbors would recall late at night on Christmas Eve hearing this very loud commotion coming from Giselle and William's apartment. And at some point, apparently Giselle had tried to run out of the apartment, but William had chased after her and hauled her back inside. The sounds coming from their apartment would eventually stop somewhere in the wee hours of Christmas Day. And then as the sun came up on Christmas Day, Giselle and William had made their way to the couch, and they were sitting there with their 7-week-old baby, waiting for their two oldest to wake up and come open presents. Except when their two little girls came out of their bedrooms and bombed into the living room to begin celebrating, only William was alive. Giselle had been beaten to death by William. And after he had beaten her to death the night before, he had dragged her into the living room, set her up on the couch to make it look like she was sitting, and then put sunglasses on in order to trick the children. And so all morning, as this 3-year-old and 8-year-old...
So they was literally talking to her while she was dead, bro?
That is crazy, man.
But at around 9 a.m.
Oh, holy sick!
The raid was not going to last.
And then you got the nerve to stare at her and tell the kids, oh, mommy is drunk. But look what you did!
That is, man.
Homie's sick.
Yes.
Throw away the key. Throw away the key for him. No, bro. Yeah. No, bro. That's not cool, bro. That's not cool, bro.
Kids were really
you foul.
Something wrong with their mother, and so that was when he got up and he called 911, and he told them that his wife had gotten drunk and fallen into a glass coffee table, and so she was hurt, and so a little bit later,
foul, bro.
Yeah.
Why to your woman, though, bro?
They can tell William is lying to them. There's more to this story.
I know there's gonna be problems in the marriage, but you ain't had to kill her.
Convicted of second-degree murder, and he would be sentenced to 15 years to life in prison.
You need to get more than that.
Giselle's 3 children, they are now being looked after by her parents.
Need to get more than that. Shoot. What?
That's crazy, man.
That is nuts.
The tomb.
Wow. The tomb.
In August of 2015, 16-year-old Nacy Perez suddenly woke up in the middle of the night. As she lay there scanning around the dark, tiny room that she was in, it dawned on her that the most likely reason she had just woken up is because she really needed to use the bathroom. And so she climbed out of her bed and she began carefully walking across the room where her other relatives were sleeping on the floor as she moved towards the back of the house. Nacy lived in a town called La Entrada, which is located in one of the poorest and most dangerous countries in the world. Honduras. But despite the harshness of her reality, Macy was pretty happy. She had recently married the boy she was in love with. His name was Rudy, and the two of them were both very excited about their first child, which was due in a matter of months. So Macy reached the back of her house, she pushed open the back door, and she stepped out into the hot night air, and then she made the familiar walk across her backyard toward the outhouse. But Macy would never reach the outhouse. The next morning, Macy's mother woke up first. Her name was Maria, and as she passed by the back door, she looked outside, and she saw Macy lying on the ground. And so Maria, she screams, she runs outside to her daughter, and she flips her over, and she's looking at her, and Macy is unresponsive, and she's foaming at the mouth. Now, they're in a part of the world where healthcare was not top-notch, not even close. And Honduras is known for being an extremely religious part of the world. And so Maria did not think, oh, I should send my daughter to the hospital, or I should call a doctor. Instead, Maria and the rest of Macy's family, who had all streamed outside because of the commotion, they decided to call a priest to perform an exorcism because the belief was Macy must be possessed with demons.
What?
So a priest was hailed to the residence, and the priest would perform.
Okay. I understand. I can't judge about nobody's religion or nothing. I can't judge. I know their health care ain't good over there. But I feel like, come on. The first thing I rather would have took her to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Before.
Yeah.
Cause how do you even, like, I know y'all religious and stuff. I can't judge about people's religion. Wherever you believe in, you believe in. Me and Leaky Leak do. Whoever y'all believe in, y'all believe in. We can't judge y'all. I just feel like, how do y'all know for sure if it was a ghost or something like that? Why wouldn't y'all, like, you know, take her to the hospital for? That would have been my first intention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That, man. So your first for just an exorcism?
It's just
not to go to the hospital first?
Oh, I couldn't. Nah.
Man, that is nuts.
Perform an exorcism on Macy, but it wouldn't do anything. And so at that point, Maria and the rest of Macy's family would take Macy, who was still totally unresponsive and foaming, to the local hospital. But by that point, it was too late. Macy was dead. When Macy's family asked the doctors what happened to her, they said they didn't know. And so, heartbroken and confused, Maria and the rest of Macy's family brought Macy back home. They had an ad hoc memorial service, and then they buried her. The following day, Macy's husband, Rudy, who was totally distraught because he has not only lost his wife, he's also lost his unborn child. He got up early and he just had to go to the cemetery to be with his wife. And so he made his way over to the local cemetery and he found his wife's gravesite. Macy had not been buried under the earth. Instead, she had been placed into a coffin, and that coffin had been slid into this big hollowed-out cement block that was as big as a coffin. And then once the coffin was slid inside, they walled up the opening. So basically, her gravesite was this kind of freestanding big cement block. And so Rudy finds Macy's cement block, and he goes up right next to it, and he leans up against it, and he begins to quietly sob. But just seconds later, he would hear something in that cemetery that would cause him to go completely silent, stand up, and sprint away. The day before, approximately 1 or 2 hours after Macy's coffin was slid inside of that cement tomb and walled up, Macy woke up. She was never dead. It's unclear what originally caused Macy to collapse outside of her house on the way to the outhouse.
So you mean to tell me? Oh no,
she had
man!
A severe panic attack caused by a nearby gunshot, or 2, she had a severe episode of cataplexy. Cataplexy is the sudden, uncontrolled loss of muscle function.
Man, so you mean to tell me she's...
Emotions. A mild case could be just having for a second. A severe case, which is what they believe could have happened to Macy, would result in basically complete
How you missed
paralysis.
that?
But whatever the case was, the doctors at the hospital got it wrong. When Macy was brought to them,
I can see why they don't got health care there.
She woke up inside of her coffin that was encased
Yeah,
in cement. She began shrieking and trying to pound
Yo.
the coffin
She was
inside of these
alive
tight
in there
walls
the
that were
whole
pressed up
time.
against her, and at some point she even managed to force her hands up near her head, and she shattered the glass window that sat in her coffin that looked right down at her face. She broke the glass, but it didn't help her at all because, again, it's just cement on the other side, and so glass shards fell into her mouth and into her eyes, and so she stayed like that, screaming and trying to fight her way out for over 24 hours, trying to get
Yo.
but
That's
nobody
crazy,
heard
man.
her, until her husband, Rudy, he leaned up against her tomb and he put his ear right up against the cement and began to cry. And that's when he heard, through the cement, the sound of his wife calling out for help. Rudy instantly ran and got help, and he and his family came back, and they broke open the side of this tomb, and they pulled Nacy's coffin out, and even though she was now unresponsive, she had a faint heartbeat, and so they rushed her to the hospital, but by the time she got there, she really had died. Nacy had finally just run out of oxygen, likely within minutes.
That's
of her husband
crazy, man.
finally hearing her screams.
Wow.
That's crazy, man.
So that's going to do it. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please invite the like button to come to the zoo with you.
Wow.
Cover them in honey and push them into the bear enclosure. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss our weekly upload. We now have a podcast called the Mr.Ballen
Wow.
Podcast that puts out brand new, never before heard podcast exclusive
I'm still
stories
stuck on that.
on Monday
Me too,
mornings.
me
And
too.
then on Thursdays, we put out the remastered audio from our best YouTube videos. Again, it's called the Mr. Ballen Podcast, and you can find it on Spotify,
She
Apple
was
Podcasts,
alive
Amazon,
in there.
Google.
For
Basically,
24
anywhere you get
hours,
podcasts,
bro?
you can find this one. We also
Man.
have 2 additional YouTube channels. One is called Mr. Ballen Shorts, and the other is called Mr. Ballen en Espanol. We post near daily content on our Snapchat and Facebook pages. Those are both just called Mr. Ballen. If you want to get in touch with me, please follow me on.
Yo, man, that was nuts, dude.
Yeah.
The last 2 stories was nuts.
Yeah, they were though, man.
Please show y'all love and support, and send prayers out to both of the families in the last 2 stories, because you know people don't deserve to die, man. People really don't deserve to die, and I just feel like, come on, man, like they ain't even deserve that. Like,
I know.
rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to
Rest
him.
in peace, man.
But yeah, y'all, that's the video for today. I'm just still stuck on that.
Me too.
Like, man, Mr. Ballen, man, yo, you, oh goodness, man. But yo, y'all, we gotta go. So this is a crazy story. I can't wait to check out more from him. We can't wait. So please, like, comment, and subscribe. Join our big happy family. We see y'all in the next reaction.
See you.
Peace.